Bam, 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 bam. Kilted balls.
Yeah.
You definitely were not in sync with me.
Oh,
I bet we can
man.
count on one hand after more than 200 episodes the number of times we're in sync.
That's what makes it so special.
It does. It does. I think
Because you forget I have to plan the 1 second ahead to make sure I'm in sync.
That's true. That's true. You gotta like plan.
So you're not being a good leader. You're not like, bam, go now.
That's what I try to do. That's what I try to do is give you a little heads up.
It's not working.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. No.
I mean, what can I do?
What can you do? What can you do?
I can't do
I
it.
feel like we have a lot to talk about. First off, it's Ollie's 10th birthday. Happy birthday, Ollie, if you're watching
Yes,
the pod.
happy birthday, Obs.
10? Is that what you said? He's 10?
10.
Wow. That's old.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he got to pick wherever he wanted to go to dinner tonight for his 10th birthday.
Okay, and where'd he go?
He picked Golden Corral.
All right. So, we're going to probably lose you partway through the pod.
If I make it all the way through this without, I mean, oh my gosh. So, thankfully, this is only the 4th time I've ever eaten at the Golden Corral. So
Only
it's
the 4th.
It's the first Golden Corral I ever ate at.
I've got to say, you are like a marionette. I just want to point that out.
What?
You're like a marionette. Are you going to have to Google that word?
That's awesome. I have to see. I don't see. Got no strings on me.
It's one of my favorite songs. I like that song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm drinking scotch today, and I'm thinking,
Awesome.
I think it's a sign that we're old when, like, you just drink scotch and you don't even think about it. Like, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to have a little scotch tonight.
Is it your Sam's Club scotch?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's almost gone.
I have good old water. I have to drink, I have to wash all my other water bottles because I've got some funk going on.
Oh,
It's
man.
what attached Gina for like a month straight, but I've been
I saw you
like
at the
weird.
water, and I thought, you know what would be better than water, and you wouldn't have to worry about the funk? Scotch.
Scotch would be better.
Like, if you had those bottles filled with vodka, there would be no funk in the bottles.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But I have a bunch of bottles I just need to wash, like all my normal water bottles.
Nope, just fill them with vodka, pound it, and you'll be good.
I don't have that much vodka. I do have the giant thing of rum. I was thinking about opening it up. We have the 3 liters of rum.
Nice.
That we got on the last cruise. It's not
I feel
open
like
yet.
that should be a song, 3 liters of rum.
It would be awesome.
Like a song to me.
It would be really awesome.
So my daughter this last weekend was like looking at a video of me, and she was like, I can't decide if I think you should like cut this and regrow it in November, or if you should just see how full it'll get in November. Because I was like, it's getting a little like fluffy, I think, on the sides.
Yeah, if you're gonna trim it, you definitely have to trim it like before November, because November you're not supposed to do that. But it's looking good, I think. I like the snow. You remind me of like a Wolfman Jack.
The part that's weird for me is I do not visualize myself. Like, even right now talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't visualize myself with facial hair. So it's kind of weird because I'll like see it and I'll be like, huh, that's cool. But it's not like in my memory.
Are you purposely like puffing this out right here? Like, here, I'll show you. Like right here. Like, are you doing that?
Nope. If anything, I always pull it down. So it's never
okay.
like, it's never up, it's always down.
It looks like maybe you sit there and think and you're like rubbing it out because it's kind of puffy out like that.
Always down.
And maybe this you pull down.
Speaking of, that's one of the things, like normally my hair gets cut when I start like playing with my hair and I start doing like stuff like this, but I haven't been, so I don't know if it's the season or if it just doesn't bother me. So
Yeah.
a mosquito just flew by. That was weird. It was like right in front of my screen. It was like.
So speaking of the season, I got something new, and I was gonna wear it tonight, but I was running a little late. I'm gonna have to wear it next week because it is Halloween season. It is awesome.
Is it a banana hammock?
It's a little slightly better than a banana hammock. Slightly better.
Because it's orange.
So
it's like a pumpkin hammock.
It is orange, and I found it at the Goodwill, and I wasn't sure what it was, and someone did tell me what it was, so I was a little surprised, and I can't wait to show everybody. I plan on doing it tonight, but
is it a squash squisher?
I'm not sure what a squash squisher is.
I think it's like a banana hammock, but tighter and orange.
Oh, nice. Kumquat holder.
Kumquat holder.
But yeah, it's funny because Halloween's next week, and we love doing stuff like that, and it's been a lot of fun. Although we didn't put out any of our decorations this year again, although we planned on it, but just like things start getting crazy. Although a funny story, we were out and about, and we do. I can't remember if I talked about this last year. We started doing it last year with Gina's brother and his wife. We do a spooky basket. And you try to get like fun and like different things like Halloween themed. So where, and some Halloween stuff can get a little more sexy-ish. And Cynthia has lost some weight this year, and she's been super happy like with her body, more so than normal, which is awesome. And so we're like, you know what, let's try to find like something like not super racy and not like super crazy, but like at Adam and Eve, because they have like the normal stuff, and then they have like a little area where it's like, more mild, if you've ever been in one. So we're there with the little one, and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Why? I mean, so I look over and I see
this was at Adam and Eve?
At Adam and Eve, and I look over and I'm like, I mean, he's 20 years old, so I'm like, son, like, what are you doing? And he found some Benoit balls, and he was trying to act like he was a shaman. So he's like dancing and waving them all around. So I don't know.
I thought you said it was your little one.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 little ones. He's 20.
20 does not fall into the category of little ones.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was a good time. It was funny.
So you took the 20-year-old to Adam and Eve.
Yeah, that's slightly different, I guess.
Totally different. I was like, so you took Morgie to Adam and Eve? Like,
you would expect him to act like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's exactly how I think Morgie would act. But then I didn't understand the punchline. So.
Oh yeah. So it was a good time.
Oh man, I guess. So you brought up Adam and Eve, which is interesting because that segues really well into one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Awesome.
So I heard a person talking about Adam and Eve recently, and I was laughing because they were talking about how the Garden of Eden was paradise. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, clearly it wasn't. Mm-hmm. They were like, how could it not be? I'm like, okay, like what's some stuff you like to do? Like what's things you like to do? I'm like, I don't know. Like for me, like maybe I like to watch the Lions on a Sunday and take a nap. Mm-hmm. And they're like, sure. I'm like, that wouldn't have been in the Garden of Eden. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I like to play games on my computer. That wouldn't have been in the Garden of Eden. Like none of those things. I go, maybe I would like to hang out with Jer. I go, that wouldn't have been in the Garden of Eden. I'm like, literally, I go, if I start really thinking about the Garden of Eden, I don't know if there were a lot of redeeming qualities about the Garden of Eden.
I mean, we all love our significant others, but if it's 24/7 and there's just bugs and sitting around outside, I mean, you could meditate and have, relax a bit. And then,
but you wouldn't call that paradise, right? I'm like, that doesn't fit paradise. But then that made me start thinking. Cal was watching videos earlier.
Like bugs all around. Like this is what Adam and Eve did like 100% of the time.
100% of the time. Because it's got to be paradise for the bugs too, right?
Exactly.
And a mosquito's paradise is biting the shit out of you.
Hmm.
So
I've seen Naked and Afraid.
I've seen Naked and Afraid too. Yeah, exactly. The ticks were like gorging themselves. Like
Hmm.
people, like I think, really overestimate the Garden of Eden. But then it made me think because Cal was watching videos before we recorded,
Hmm.
and one of the things that I've always believed is that darkness isn't real. Like darkness is just no light. So there's light and there's
Hmm.
no light. Darkness isn't actually a thing. Kind of like cold isn't a thing. Cold is the absence of heat.
Hmm.
We
I
just
can agree
use
with that.
right. And so then I often think that evil is just the absence of good, right? So I'm
Mhm.
like, is evil really like a thing, or is it things just not being good? And then in my mind, while Cal was watching videos, there must have been a lyric or something, but it struck me, and I was like, wait a second. Could there have been anything right before there was something wrong?
Mm.
Right? Like when you think about
Ain't no
that,
wrong now when you're right. Only pleasure and pain.
because you wouldn't have any rightness, right?
Hmm.
Like you'd have to have something that was wrong first. So like the Garden of Eden was paradise because there was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So
It's,
then everything was good because there was nothing wrong, but none of it could be good because there wasn't anything that was wrong.
I do like how all the paintings of Adam and Eve, they all have belly buttons.
And they're white, which makes
And
no
they're white.
which makes no sense at all. Right?
So I
Like
can't
they would have been
remember.
sunburned all the time, all the time.
Mhm. In the Catholic Church, do I guess because I'm trying to think. Paul talks about the dark one, so there's a devil even in the Catholic Church. Okay,
Most
because I
assuredly.
have a hard time in believing that there's a devil, that there's a evil entity trying to make people do bad things. In my
Yeah.
beliefs.
So it's really interesting because they have it's like two different things when you're talking to people. So on one hand, you've got Lucifer,
Hmm.
right, who is an angel. So
Yep.
like calling that evil is kind of a stretch because they're an angel.
Hmm.
But we talk often, and a few of our favorite priests are really, really big on exorcisms and that, there's evil out there that's trying to take
Hmm.
you over, that's trying to possess you. We have the prayer of Michael the Archangel, which is,
Hmm.
about protecting us from the wickedness and snares of the
Hmm.
devil. And so it's a interesting concept because like on one hand it doesn't seem quite real, and on the other hand you're like, oh yeah, it is,
Hmm.
because it's hurting people. And so then it just gets down a quagmire that wraps my brain into knots, and so I
Yeah,
don't
there you go.
focus on it, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing
Yeah.
used to happen
I
to me
mean,
when
when
I
I.
thought about infinite. When I got too
Hmm.
much into the infinite, then I would just be like, I'm not thinking about this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but interesting side note. I forget which church it is. It's one of the ones we laughed about last time, I
Uh.
believe. So either like Seventh Days or Mormons or something like that. I can't remember which one. Shoot, somebody will get me on this. But either way, when they talk to you about it, they don't believe in the devil or hell.
Okay.
They believe that when you die, you die. Like
Okay.
that, like you don't exist anymore, except for 144,000 people, and those people go to heaven.
That's
Everybody else is
that's
just dead.
Jehovah's. That's Jehovah's
There you
Witness.
go, Jehovah's Witness. Thank you. Yeah,
Hmm.
so they're, you know, they don't
Yeah.
believe in the devil either. They just believe when you die, you
Hmm.
die. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 144,000.
yeah,
But I mean, there could be something to that. I mean, you never know how many like Bashar talks about how many oversouls that are actually more than one person on the earth. These souls are represented. So
yeah.
who knows? It has to come from somewhere. I remember I used to work with a guy when I sold
Oh, I can tell
mortgages.
you where it comes from.
Oh, really? What does it come from?
Bunch of crackheads. Not
Oh,
really,
there you go.
not really crackheads. When you're reading the
Great
Bible, it will
crack.
talk about, like in the book of Revelation, about how many were saved, and it was
Oh, okay.
144,000. The problem is they're taking it literally,
Hmm.
and it is not written literally. So what that is the 12 tribes of Israel by
Yeah.
12, so it gives you 144. And I actually teach this sometimes. Thousand is used in the Bible to mean infinite, right? Because
Okay.
people couldn't count or comprehend that high.
Hmm.
So when they say 144,000, they're saying an infinite number,
Okay. Which makes more sense.
which makes way more sense. But they're like, nope, it said 144,000, so that's what it has to be.
Yeah.
Well, probably not.
Yeah.
Or
Because
like if you're talking about Bashar, like it makes more sense to say infinite because you don't know how many oversouls there are, and if each oversoul has an infinite number of parts, then that's
hmm
still infinite, right?
yes. Yes, exactly. It's funny because it was he didn't let his kids like watch any of the Disney movies or anything because the Disney movies had magic in them.
Mm.
And I'm like, what? Like, you have little girls, like, I don't know. I just didn't understand it. And he's like, there's some good in it, but it's like getting a piece of cake with a piece of poop sitting on it. Like, that bad stuff. Like, the magic would get in them and then they'd be
This is
bad. And it's
Bashar.
not. No, no,
Oh,
a guy that I used to work with
oh, okay.
who was Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, no, Bashar only talks about love and light. So,
Yeah, yeah. Not poop on
yeah.
cakes.
Not poops on cakes.
Like, how
Not
many
that I've
times did
heard.
that guy
Yeah.
have a cake with poop on it? Is what I want to know.
I don't. I didn't ask him that. He was one of those people who started at similar times, and I try to be nice to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
But once I got to know him a little bit, I just kind of distanced
Well,
myself.
and then you point out to him that there is actually poop on all cakes because
There's
weevils are eating the flour, and so it's all full of poop.
well, there's a legal amount of rat poop that's in all flour,
For
so in
sure,
all
for
bread,
sure.
in all cake. So
People just
when the
don't think
government
about it.
says you're allowed to have this much poop in your stuff, then there's going to be poop in there.
Yeah, and yet the cake still tastes delicious. So maybe you shouldn't fixate on the one little bad thing and focus on the
Yeah.
big, huge good thing.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I was thinking it was Harry Potter at first, but I was like, that was way before Harry Potter.
way
So it
before.
was definitely Disney. I forget what Disney movie would have come out during that time, but
So, what do
lots
you
of great
think
Disney
about that?
movies.
Which do you think humans invented first? Rightness or wrongness? Or were they invented at the same time?
Oh, that's a great question. Let's see. I think, I mean, I would go back to I think this would be stemmed in your belief system, but I would say, yeah, I guess it would have to be at the same time because there it's like a scale. So how could there be right without any wrong?
Like, you couldn't have right, correct? If you didn't have wrong?
You couldn't have any right if you didn't have any wrong. It'd have to be at the same time. But it would have to I think it would come into our consciousness
And you couldn't have any
people are
wrong if you
trying
didn't have right.
when people are trying to take power. I think that's would have started like the first chieftain who is like, "Oh, I want to be in charge of everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
All these women are mine and all you guys hang out over there. So you got to do this. This is right, this is wrong." And yeah.
And see, it's interesting because if you asked people right now and said, hey,
Mhm.
if you bred with 100 women and told all the other guys they couldn't, would that be right or wrong? And they'd be like, oh, that's wrong. But if a lion does that, which they do,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
elephants or whatever, we're like, yeah, that just makes sense. That's natural. That's okay.
Mhm.
Right? Like, it's like actually, like, theoretically, wrong would be wrong.
Mhm.
But clearly, wrong isn't just wrong. It's completely arbitrary what we decide is wrong or is not wrong.
Exactly, cuz even in different states and different counties and breaking it down even to super small things because I can remember and I don't remember where it was at but there's still a law in the books in some backwater place that it's illegal to wear a blue dress on
Mhm.
Tuesdays or something silly happened where the
Yes.
lawmakers made this law. It's not enforced. many places oral sex is illegal.
Oh yeah,
Still,
yeah.
it's just like one of those things that they've never. I don't know, and why? Like, how would that have started? It doesn't.
How did that even
My
start?
mind.
How did
Yeah,
that even start?
yeah.
Right?
I mean, I can understand like the old Robert Schimmel. Like a guy gets arrested for having sex with a dead cat. Like, what do you say? Oh, I didn't realize the cat was dead. Like, like, why does it have to be a dead cat?
Right, right. Shouldn't it just be a cat?
Should it just be a cat?
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of funny rights and wrongs out there.
There are, and it's my mom and I got into an argument once, like about abortion, right?
Hmm.
So she tends to be like a one issue voter, and like that's like her thing. And I remember talking to her once, and for those of you who don't know, my mom is like knows her history, right? Like she knows her
Hmm.
stuff. And I was like, what was it like when that wasn't an issue? Like that
Hmm.
was, and she's like, oh, it's always been an issue. That's always been an issue. It's always been wrong. And I'm like, was it? Because it really feels like it became wrong politically when Roe v. Wade happened. Like, you don't see that in the Bible anywhere.
Even the stance, even the stance in the church has changed within the last 30 years.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what means what? What's this and that? Like,
It
because
used
I
to be
even.
that it wasn't alive until the quickening.
Yeah, and I can even remember at shows watching some of that change. Like, oh,
Yes.
it's this and this and this, just from being out there with the general public in a lot of different places.
Right.
Like, wait a second, a couple years ago it was like this, but now it's the day it happens. So there's a disconnect
Yeah,
somewhere.
well, because you get to make whatever you want right and whatever you make wrong strictly for power. And that was the point, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you're making these rules for political gain, not
Hmm.
because it is actually right or actually wrong. And now you got an entire sect of the population who that's all that matters because they now believe wrong is wrong and right is right. And so it's always just wrong.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like,
Hmm.
he made a bit of a jump there, but you know,
Yep.
I
Yep.
get you. I get you.
It happens.
It does. Yeah, and that's my mom was like, no, it was always wrong, and I'm like, come on, it used to be the quickening, like
Hmm.
it wasn't like at the moment of conception.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but, and I'm like, no, but I'm like, they made that up to give themselves a line in the sand. They needed a
Yeah.
line, and so they said, we're going to make that line, just like you see the laws being passed right now, and it's based on a heartbeat because they needed a line, and they said, we're going to use the
Hmm.
heartbeat, or we're going to use
Hmm.
this, or we're going to use this, just like we were talking about what makes a guy, or a girl, or whatever. They're like,
Hmm.
we want a line.
You
We
need a line in the sand.
Yes, and people don't like it when there's not lines.
Hmm.
And so they're like, we're going to draw a
We need to
line.
know what's right or wrong. We need to
Right?
know.
It has to be defined. Because if you don't define it, there is no right and there is no wrong,
Hmm.
which is super funny to me. Like you would
It's
think
hilarious.
wrong is wrong and right is right, but clearly it's not.
Hmm. Yeah. So we could say, I mean, even it comes down to the most extreme killing is bad, killing is wrong. If someone breaks into my house, I'm not going to think twice to protect my family. I would like to think that, I should
You would
say.
like to think that. I hear it's
Hmm.
much harder than you would think.
I imagine it is. But luckily, I live in a world where that doesn't happen.
Not
In
very often.
my reality is like there's good all around. Badness doesn't get close.
Madness doesn't come near me. I
Mm-mm.
have defined the right.
Yeah. Well, just like when we were kids, like I didn't start locking my door ever until I was in college and my door locked automatically. Like my keys never left my car. I mean, maybe at school because people would mess around with your stuff.
Right.
But like my home door, that was never locked
No.
when we were kids. Like,
No. In fact, I like laugh at you and Gina when you visit and you like lock your doors. Which I get that you have to because you live in a spot where you have to lock your doors. Or you did.
yeah, yeah.
But like where I'm at, You don't have to.
Yeah.
Just like we didn't have to when we were on Bull Run. That would be weird.
Yeah.
Right?
You can see someone coming for a mile.
They're like, oh, we're going to go break into that place with the crazies. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. They won't find you.
Now we have 2 barkers, so it's even more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Cricket toots outside, then we know about it.
They let you know. Well,
there's not many, though, because Molly Bean takes care of most everything. So it was a couple weeks ago now. I go outside, and there's not quite an adult, but it wasn't a baby.
Yeah.
Like middling squirrel that she's eating. I'm like, Molly Bean, So the cats are the apex predators, that's for sure.
Your cat is a carnivore, for sure. Your cat is a carnivore.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm getting sick of that pellet food.
I tried to talk about retirement today with my family. It didn't go over well.
Yeah?
Well, I was like...
They're scared to have you laying around at home all day?
No. It's like the opposite. I was like, hey, there's like this retirement, I don't know what you'd call it. Like, just to give you info on if you want to retire or, stuff. I'm like, hey, would you be interested in going? Like, nah, not really. I'm like, okay. Like, I like to go because I like to, teach people stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, we could go and I could teach people this and do this or that. No, not really. I'm like, okay. I'm like, have you thought about retiring? No, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, well, no, I'm talking about like you retiring. I'm probably not going to retire, but you should retire. I'm like, why should I retire? I'm the only person who's not working because I'm having fun all the time.
So it's funny because I go back and forth. Like, obviously, there was a time in my life before we started doing the podcast where that was like a goal. And I had even said, like, in my mind, I'm retired because I only do what I want to do.
Yes.
And, I was trying. But at the same time, I think I was complacent. And in my mind, I wasn't growing and doing some of the other things I think now, looking back, that I should have been doing, and so, which is just part of the journey. Mm-hmm. And like now we're like looking at different business ideas. Like, should we do this? Should we do that? There's a lot of fun stuff to do, and I do enjoy doing things. Like even whatever happens with selling the sheets, whether I continue selling sheets till they're all gone or whatever, it doesn't really matter either way, but there's like more that I want to do.
Right.
So it's a really fun part because, I obviously still feel really young and there's a lot of really cool stuff out there that you can do. So who knows what's going to happen, but.
Well, and I thought it would be a more interesting conversation because like Amtrak has a deal right now where if you get one of their like sleep compartments, your guest comes free. Like they get to travel. Awesome. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And like, my wife had sent that to me and I was like, oh, cool, let's do that. And they're like, well, where would we go? When would we go? We're always so busy. I'm like, true. So I thought, okay, let's talk about retirement. Like, would that be something you want to do? Go like jump into Amtrak and travel. But apparently no. And then it was like, I don't know. Like, it was like, yeah, I'm not planning on retiring. And I was like, okay. But then, like, for me, it was like, you should retire. But then I was like, what would I do? Like, I don't understand. They're like, well, you'd probably take like 6 months off, 7 months off. Then you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go get another job. And you'd do something else. And I was like, why?
But you're like, I really love what I'm doing.
I love what I'm doing. And I can take 3 months off anytime I want. So I kind of like the gig. So why would I stop just to do something? I go, and if I stopped and had to do something, I'd have to work hard at what I'm doing. And right now, like what I'm doing doesn't feel like work. So I'm like, it's not like hard for me at all.
Well, I think part of it too, we're in a similar boat with younger children. Mm-hmm. So even if you retire, like it's not like you can just travel the world. You could homeschool Cal from wherever you wanted.
For sure.
But you'd be traveling the world with another human being that's very small, which is not as exciting.
Right.
And that's part of it too. Like I'm tied into a school schedule for 12 more years.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what my wife said. Was like, well, maybe in like 10 years. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe like in 10 years.
Hmm.
So,
But I think part of it too, you got to do like experience a lot. You got to travel a lot. You did a lot. We all did a lot of things when we were younger,
yeah,
which is amazing. So it's not like you've been working your whole life and you never really did anything except to get the 2 weeks off each year where you go wherever,
right.
and then not really get to experience. And people want to retire so they can do those things that they didn't get to do when they
Seriously,
were
I
young.
don't know how people do it. Like, I think this would make me want to retire. Like, I was looking at a job posting for something.
Hmm.
Literally, don't even remember the job. And like it said, you get this many hours off a year. And I was like looking at it, I'm like, that's like 3 weeks off. And I'm like, who the hell wants a job where your total time off is 3 weeks? I'm like,
Hmm.
that actually sounds horrible, right? I'm like,
Hmm. I mean, if you're doing something that you really love, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, that seems
but
that
even if
seems
you're doing
tough.
something you love, you need a chance to recharge your batteries. And
Hmm.
3 weeks, I'm like, I don't know if 3 weeks is enough, right? That's like
Yeah,
Christmas, spring break, and 1 week in the summer.
yeah.
I'm like,
Especially with kids, that would be tough.
right? So all of you people who do like that, like, hats off to you. I don't know how. No wonder people are like working for the weekend, like living for the weekend.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, then
that's
you get to sit out on your lawnmower for 2 hours and enjoy your like away from everything.
which I do love being on my lawnmower. Like I put my book on tape and I go mow the lawn.
Okay,
And
I need to mow the lawn, and
mhm.
it's time.
No, mowing the lawn's a good
Yeah,
time
have to
for
run
me.
out.
it's it's rare that I'm sad about it.
Okay. Yeah, I've
So,
never been in love. Well, I have a giant hill too, which is just a
well, I
pain.
have a giant lawn.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
for sure, for
It's
sure.
fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, anyway, we're kind of getting near the end of our time. It's been a bit of a rambling episode.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. Anything to add before we wrap this up for the night?
I would say you are a beacon of self-control.
I'm very good at what I do, and my nose itches right now, but I'm too scared to itch my nose. So, but
Yeah.
it is true. It is true. Self control. I pride myself on having a lot of control.
You do. You do.
But yours was still
Props to that.
an easier task, for sure. For sure. Totally not fair. Well, anyway, my friends and family, I hope life is going good for you, sending you lots of love and lots of positive vibes, and I hope the week turns out great. And this is Ballbuster signing off.
Kill the Dragon, Jerry. Love you all.